Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, how should Conor McGregor be punished after attacking a bus at UFC Media Day? Plus, Eric Mangini joins the show to discuss the Patriots' interesting offseason moves. And is Tim Tebow going yard on the first pitch of his AA season a big deal? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. We have to start with Conor McGregor. He was charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor assault and 1 count of felony criminal mischief after attacking a UFC bus in New York yesterday. Several fighters were injured in the incident, and the UFC lost 3 fights from tomorrow's event. Dana White called it, quote, the most disgusting thing that has ever happened in UFC history. Dana was on First Things First this morning and gave more details on the incident. Let's take a listen.
This is the fight business, and leading up the week of a fight, there's tension and animosity. Guys are cutting weight. They're angry. You know, these type of things happen. Guys will say things, push, shove, grab each other. These things have happened. People have slapped each other. People have done this. We can deal with all that stuff. When you bring in, 20 hoodlums, they flew in from Ireland to basically do this. Conor and I talked through text yesterday. Probably the obviously worst conversation we've ever had. But yeah, we talked yesterday before he turned himself in.
Worst conversation?
Yeah, it was
what do you
bad.
mean that he didn't understand what had happened?
No, I don't believe he did.
Or the severity of what happened?
It's not that I don't think he understood what happened. It's just he justified it. It was justified to him that, listen, I'm sorry about Mike and I'm sorry about Rose and whoever else might have whatever, but this had to be done.
Shannon, what do you make of it?
This is a very bad look for the UFC. This is an even worse look for Conor McGregor, who's basically the face of the MMA of the UFC. Skip, this is thuggish. This is hooligan. This is hoodlum behavior. We see a lot of this soccer fans tearing up the stadium and they fighting each other, Skip. As Dana mentioned, he got on a plane and flew basically 7 hours to do this. I get it. If you're in the fight, if you're fighting and you want to promote the fight, but the one thing that we know about Conor McGregor, Skip, is that he always goes over the line. With the Nate Diaz, he was throwing the water bottles. With he and Floyd Mayweather, they started getting into these racial and homophobic slurs. And now this. He's doing this when he's not involved in a fight.
Yep.
Now, 3 fighters are not going to be able to fight tomorrow. Well, 6 fighters, because the 3 that they're going to fight, the 3 that were injured, and their 3 opponents. So now you got 6 guys missing out on a payday because of this thuggish, because of this goonish behavior. Skip, the UFC, and I understand that Conor McGregor is basically the face of the UFC, but they must send a swift and harsh message. I don't believe he should be suspended for 2 years, 5 years, but they got to get him for at least 6 months. And I know coming up on November would be 2 years since he last fought. But you can't have this, Skip. This is a bad, bad message that they're allowing Conor McGregor to send. And I get it, he's a big deal. But you can't have this. And for him, Skip, less than a year ago, he made $100 million. I understand he came from the mean streets of Ireland. He came up poor. He was on food stamps. But he fought in the UFC to remove himself, to get his family out of that environment. And for $100 million, he's living in an ivory tower now. You resort to this? Come on, Conor, you got to be bigger than this. This is why athletes that come from impoverished situations, they fight and they do play sports or whatever they do to get out of that. So they don't have to carry out that type of behavior. And for him to go back and to do that because somebody disrespected his boy, and then you hear Dana saying that he justified it by saying someone basically disrespected his boy. Really, Conor? I mean, you could. I know if I'm one of them fighters, I ain't fighting no more in the UFC. I ain't gonna get kicked upside my head. I just got me a big old check, Joy. I'm gonna go and sit this thing on down, have me a couple kids. I'm gonna be nice. No more punching for old Shay Sharp. Conor McGregor I just got me a lot. This is the winning ticket right here. Conor McGregor just signed it for me. Justified.
You finished?
Justified.
Shannon Sharp, you just got took by Conor McGregor. He did it again. It was brilliant. Maybe it went a little over the top, a little over the edge. Maybe I'm sure he didn't mean to shatter the windshield in such a way that it would lacerate one fighter's face and get some little shards of glass in the other fighter's eye and cancel 2 fights. This was nothing in the end but Don King Memorial fight hype building to a crescendo. McGregor Mayweather 2, which will take place in the octagon under MMA rules. That's what just happened.
No.
It was beautiful. It was brilliant. And I'm sure Dana, as we just saw, Dana's very upset. He's genuinely upset about this because it became a bad look because it just went a little far. But there is method to Dana's madness because he knows what made $100 million for Conor McGregor the first time in the boxing ring and $300 million for Floyd will make $300 for Conor McGregor this time in the octagon, and God knows how much for Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather, in the octagon, because it could be 600 million, 800 million, God knows how many million, because this will be the biggest fight, the richest fight in the history of this planet, and it's going to take place in the octagon, and Dana keeps warning you. I'm telling you. So, back to your original point. Is Conor McGregor basically just a street thug? Yeah, all those terms you used, they call them yabos over there, hooligans, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Did he grow up that way? You better believe it. And I'm going to remind you, it was just 5 years ago that Conor McGregor in Dublin, Ireland, was collecting welfare checks as a product of that neighborhood called Crumlin, which is actually just a south side suburb of Dublin, and it has seen some of the worst gang fighting in the history of Ireland, and he grew up in those gang fights. And I will remind you, just 5 months ago, Conor McGregor was bold enough in a pub one night, after I'm sure he'd had a few too many, he was guilty of punching a known mafia member in the face, an older man who was the father of a son. It's a long story. It's another one of those, I'm going to get even with you. And reportedly, ESPN reported there's been a bounty on Conor's head by the Irish mafia, the Irish mob, for the last 5 months. So he lives in this world. So is he capable of bringing what a...
They had no mob head on the Skip. Yeah. You know how the mob work. When they send for you, they come get you.
Well,
so they ain't
supposedly they were trying to strong-arm him into paying for protection from the mob, and I don't know if he actually paid or not, but he had to up his bodyguard number around him, and so that's been going on. So is he capable of the kind of, what did Dana call it, 20 hoodlums with him, that kind of retaliation? Yeah. But back to your original point. Reportedly, and I watched the video of it this morning, there's this confrontation between his teammate and I'll call him Habib, because I can't pronounce his last name. I think it's Nurmagomedov. I think I got that right, but it's Habib. But there was a confrontation, and go watch the whole video, I dare you, because I don't even see there's supposedly a slap, but I can't see a slap in the video. So they're going back and forth, and they're both Russian, and I don't understand, but then I tried to read a transcript of it, and there were the basic insults that you've been a part of your whole life, and it goes back and forth, and I'm not sure that reached the depths that would ignite Conor McGregor to do what you said and get on a plane and fly, whatever it is, 7 hours from Dublin.
6 hours and 40 minutes to be exact.
Is it?
With no delays.
I looked it up, and it was 7.5, so maybe I looked at a slower plane.
Well, he's on private.
Private? Maybe the private would do it, okay. But then if you're really going to get even with Habib, wouldn't you go find him in the hotel, or wouldn't you do it quietly? Wouldn't you just go take care of business instead of going to the media day at the Barclays Center ahead of UFC 223? Wouldn't you do it quietly if in fact that was your goal, to shut him up, to take care of him? Wouldn't you do it somewhere besides at the media availability?
But Skip, what did he think was going to happen if you pick up a dolly and throw it through a window when people's on the bus? You're talking about he didn't mean for that to happen.
An explosion, a nuclear explosion of publicity is going to happen, because with cell phone cameras, it's going to get videotaped. There are all kinds of security cameras everywhere. You knew exactly what you were doing, even if it did obviously go a little far. But it's like pro wrestling. I mean, you're going to throw things at the windshield, and you don't intend to hurt anybody in the bus, but you want to do some damage to the bus.
But intent only matters to the individual that's throwing it. The guy is just as injured. Remember, intent only matters to the guy, to the defendant. The victim is just as injured whether you intended to harm him or not. But, Skip, my thing is, if you got this much animosity towards Khabib, as Dana said, the next, 226, this one, so 227? 223. Yeah. So 224 or 225, Conor McGregor and Khabib. Okay, you can... That's the thing about the fight game, Skip. If I dislike you, guess what? We can settle it. We can go and get up in the ring, UFC rules. You going to get... But see, here's the thing, Skip. Conor McGregor is dragging his feet about fighting. Skip, once you make $100 million, it's hard for you to go back to making 10 and 13.
I agree.
Even though 10 and 13 million, that's a lot of money, Skip. But once you got a big check and they got all them zeros, how does Conor McGregor say, hold on, wait a minute, I'm the cash cow? And I'm sure Dana's trying to make it worth his while. I got 15, 20. No, but Skip, this kind of behavior is unacceptable. I can imagine. Joy, what would have happened if that would have been Demetrius Johnson or Tyron Woodley? What would have been said? Nobody would have said, oh, that's what you call them. That's a PR move. They tried to hype a fight. Come on, Skip. This is unacceptable for this man. You know he goes over the line. And I told you that. You can trash talk. But then he is not good enough to question somebody where I can beat you or question how tall he is and little legs, little torso. He got to go over. He got to go to the monkey. He got to go to making homophobic slur. I mean, it's just never enough.
Did you buy it? Did you watch? Were you not hyped for it? Because I was.
No, I wasn't hyped.
Yeah, I was.
That thuggish behavior.
Yeah.
See, you know what?
He got you.
Nah.
Got you.
He gonna mess around and get the right one, and they're gonna spray They're gonna spray them all.
Okay, that could happen.
And then
that
what?
Could happen. All right. He's lived in that world his whole life. And then what? He doesn't care because I'm pretty sure he's not going to fight in any sort of UFC until Floyd walks into the octagon.
Man, he ain't gonna fight no Floyd.
So Conor's got 2 fights left in him. One was in a boxing ring, and one's going to be in the octagon against Floyd. That's what's going to happen. And he's going to make 300 more, and that'll be 400 million, and he's going to say, Shannon, you know what you can do with all of your opinions.
No,
Yeah.
It's just like Floyd. The more you see, some people can never have enough of money. And he's one of those. Floyd seems to be one of those guys. So it wasn't enough for Floyd to make 225, make three. So $500 million in his three last fights. So he made $30 million against Berto, 225 against Pacquiao, 300 million. So it wasn't enough, Skip, to do 575. Be 50-0, ride off in the sunset. I'm cool, unbeaten, untied. A lot of people tried, nobody did it. That's not enough.
How much can Conor make for fighting Khabib? Let's just say hypothetically.
Oh, he can make a lot, but Dana trying to squeeze him.
Well, he'll make what Dana allows him to make,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
He's still under contract with UFC.
And he said he wants percentage points. He wants a piece of UFC.
Okay. So you don't think that Dana White and others who own the UFC, Dana obviously operates it.
Right.
But you don't think they would love to see a Floyd-Conor rematch in the octagon?
Of course.
You don't think they benefit from that hugely?
Yeah, but they won't give $100 of my money.
Yes, they will.
They won't.
Please.
Oh, no.
Oh, stop it.
No.
What?
No. You get none of my money for that. Because I already know how it's going to end.
Like
I'm not watching. I'm going to the movies that night.
You're going to
You are not.
I'm going bowling.
You're going to watch.
I know what you do. You'll show up at a watch party and bring one of the free bottles of Hennessy that someone has brought you.
I ain't watching it.
You're going to watch. You're going to watch what? Sister Act 2?
No. I mean, why would I watch a wildebeest go fight a crocodile or a lion? We know how that's going to end.
Wildebeest sounds pretty bad to me.
Yeah, it sounds
weird.
Man, yeah, right? don't do that, Skip.
But it's not.
See, Skip, you look at that smirk on your face. You want Conor to get his retribution.
I do.
For what he did.
But so does everybody else. And now millions of people around the globe are going to want Conor to get his from Floyd for what he just did to 2 of the UFC fighters.
No,
you watch.
No, Khabib going to take care of that.
Yeah.
Khabib going to do it. Yeah.
Conor didn't care about him.
Yeah, that's right.
You really think he took this that seriously?
Khabib
to fly 6.5 hours?
Conor lucky Khabib didn't slap him.
Oh, well, he probably is, but he doesn't want any of that.
I know he don't want another Khabib.
Risk his pretty face for that. He wants Floyd.
No.
He's got Floyd. He wants the biggest
You know
fish.
what? Next pay period, I'm going to give you $1,000 so you can leave this fight alone. Floyd Sr., I'm going to give you the $1,000 back from Floyd Sr.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle.
No, ain't no principle. There's no principalities in this.
I wrote a personal check to Floyd Mayweather Sr.
Well,
for $1,000.
Well, I'm going to write you a personal check to one Skip Bayless for $1,000.
Okay, I don't think you'll do that, but
I will.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want you to stop trying to promote this Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather in the UFC. Because, Skip, the only reason, if you thought it would be a good fight, you wouldn't want to see it because Khabib and Conor McGregor is more in line. That would be a good fight. You want to see Floyd get pummeled. You just want to see him lose.
I just want to see the matchup. It's like
it ain't no matchup.
Turnabout is fair play. Conor had the guts to go into the ring with Floyd, right?
Yeah.
He lasted 10 rounds, and he finally did get pummeled.
we let him last.
But in round 9, he had Floyd in trouble in the corner until that referee, Dirty Bird, stepped in and said,
blow, Skip.
Up, low blow.
Yeah, it
Start
was.
over in the middle of the ring.
Right.
What?
Yeah, that's
you
what
let
happened.
him out of the trap.
What, no trap? You hit him low.
Well, and you know what? There could be even a trilogy here where the third fight between these two would be back in the ring.
First of all, it could be. First of all, let's get this straight.
If Floyd lasts through the second fight.
You and I both know there will be no third. If Floyd were to get into the octagon with Conor McGregor, there is no third. There's no third boxing match. There's no third UFC fight. There's no third anything. You know that, Skip. And the only reason you want this to happen is that you want to see someone, you want to say in your lifetime, you saw Floyd Mayweather get beat. And it's not going to happen.
How many billions of people would want to say that and pay for this fight?
I don't care.
Way more than paid for the boxing match. A lot of people thought the boxing match was a joke, but this would be for blood in the octagon with little tiny gloves on his little brittle hands.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly. So if he got little brittle hands, he's never kicked anybody, he's never kneed anyone, he's never
fascinating. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how long he lasts, because that would be the question. How long will he last before he gets hurt by Conor McGregor?
Just because you're a great athlete in one sport. I mean, Tom Brady is a great football player. Nobody wants to see Tom Brady on the basketball court. Nobody wants to see Tom Brady on the baseball diamond. Nobody wants to see
enough. This is hand-to-hand combat.
Skip.
Boxing ring, octagon. Slightly different rules over here in the octagon. You can kick,
in boxing, the only thing you can use are your hands. In the UFC, the only thing you can't do, you can't bite, you can't out-gouge, and you can't hit the guy in the private. That's the same thing in boxing. Okay. But elbows, knees, feet, you can take the guy down. You can't wrestle in boxing.
So, the greatest defensive fighter ever will have a challenge here. How does he stay out of harm's way?
It's easy to be a defensive specialist when all you have to worry about is someone's hands. When you got to worry about someone's feet, their knee, a hammer fist, stop it, Skip.
Floyd's special now.
In the boxing ring. In the boxing ring.
Yeah.
But you saw, even in that fight against Conor McGregor, you see some of Floyd's skills are deteriorating. This is why Floyd doesn't want to get into the boxing ring.
Shannon Sharp just said his skills are deteriorating?
The man's 41. He's about to be 42, yes.
Tom Brady's 40, and he just won MVP of the National Football League.
But he took that L. I won't remember that MVP, but I remember that L.
When he set the record for passing yards
what
in any playoff game?
What did he get him?
Bill Belichick got him an L.
No, don't do that.
Well, it's just what happened.
Don't skip.
So before we leave this alone, well, obviously Conor turned himself in to the police in New York City. So will he go to jail for this? I doubt it, but I don't know that for a fact. Could he go to? He could go to jail.
Yeah,
he's been charged with assault and criminal mischief. But as a first-time offender here, I don't know that he's got.
Nah, we're gonna check his records over there. He got anything over there in Ireland?
I don't think so. Nothing that I could find before the show. So I don't know. Would he go? Could he go to jail? But help me out here. What happened to some of the greatest rappers we've known after they went to jail? What happened to Tupac after he went to jail? Did it help his career or hurt his career? It helped his career. What happened to Lil Wayne after he went to jail? Help or hurt? Help.
But here's the thing.
Gucci Mane. I could just go on and on.
Stop talking about Gucci.
I'm just saying.
They're from the crib.
They went to jail, and then what happened?
Ain't no rapper from Oklahoma, especially any of the Idlerbell.
No, except me.
You ain't no rapper.
I'm the only one.
Oh, so what are you?
Yeah. Skip's got bars.
Yeah. So
MC Skim Milk.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So, but I'm saying this is it's brilliant. Again, did it go to? I don't want to see people get hurt, and I don't think he intended to hurt anybody.
Skip, if you throw a dolly through a window,
okay, but you don't even know it's going to go through the window. You don't know that.
Skip, you know what this reminds you of? Those kids that drop those boulders that over the overpass and the cars coming up underneath. Well, I didn't know it was going to hurt. What you think's going to happen if you drop a rock from 20 feet up in the air on a speeding car? If you throw a dolly through the window of a bus and people are on that bus.
I didn't used to know if you drop a penny off the Empire State Building, it could kill somebody by the time it hit the ground. It took me a long time to get
1,000
that
feet
through
up
my
in the
head.
air.
Well, I just couldn't process that. When I was a little kid, I was like, really?
Yeah, because look, when the tallest building is one story in Oklahoma, I mean, you obviously, but when you're 1,000 feet up in the air, Skip, that's a whole different ball game.
Okay, I got it. But Conor probably didn't process all that. He probably didn't have a plan until he saw a folding chair and a dolly, and I'm just going to I'll hit the windshield. And it just implodes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Khabib, get him. I'm a Khabib fan now.
You realize hook, line, and sinker. You just went right in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what he got on the other end?
Yeah.
He got old Khabib.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got old Khabib.
Cares?
I care.
Cares?
I'm going to watch that fight.
Care.
Khabib.
Yeah,
Khabib. I might even be waving the Russian flag for Khabib.
Yeah, well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm against Conor right now.
I
like Conor, but not he gone too far now.
This doesn't smell at all like promotion for.
No. Khabib
gonna
put some promotion on
sniff.
it. No.
Just a little bit.
No. That's all right, Khabib.
I smell
what Khabib got cooking for him.
I smell Dollar Tree Memorial.
I bet Khabib got something for him.
Khabib. Nobody cares about Khabib.
Yeah, they will. When he got that win, that dub, I'm gonna have that restaurant open late.
Nothing about this should be surprising to anyone. What do you always say? Money doesn't change people.
It shouldn't. It makes you a bigger, more than what. So he a bigger hoodlum, huh?
He's a bigger hoodlum. That's true.
No mercy. Hey guys, Joy Taylor here. Before we get back to the Undisputed podcast, I want to tell you about Toyo Tires. UFC fighters are tough. You know what else is tough? Toyo Tires. That's why Toyo has been a proud sponsor of the UFC. Just like UFC fighters, Toyo Tires are built for battle. It's an all-or-nothing philosophy. Durability, aggressive design, on- and off-road capabilities, yes to all of them. Living life on the highway? Toyo has you covered. Spending some serious time off-road? They have a tire for that too. No matter what you drive, Toyo has what you need, and frankly, these tires just look cool. Trust me, nothing ruins your day faster than being stranded on the side of the road with a flat tire. Any vehicle, every terrain, all or nothing. The next time you need tires, ask for Toyo. To experience more, visit toyotires.com/UFC. That's TOYO tires.com/UFC. Now let's get back to the show.
No mercy. Ty Lue was back on the sideline for the Cavs last night, and he had a front row seat for their huge comeback win against the Wizards. The Cavs were down 17 late in the game, but LeBron scored 13 of his 33 points in the fourth to lead the comeback. He also finished with 14 assists, including a pass to Kyle Korver for a game-tying three-pointer with just over a minute left. The Cavs have now won 5 straight. Let's take a listen to LeBron on the comeback win.
I don't have a quit bone in me, so if I'm on the floor, I got to try to make plays happen no matter what the score is, and it's just my mindset. I've just been in a groove. It's been a while. It's been a long, long, long groove. And I plan on staying here, hopefully. So, I just got to keep my body, keep my mind fresh, keep working on my craft every day, and see what happens.
We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Eddie House.
Good morning.
Morning, Eddie.
He is grooving.
Here we go.
Check your groove, bang. Check your groove,
Work hard, play hard.
Don't sing it or we'll have to pay for it.
Eddie, how impressive was LeBron last night?
I mean, come on. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, he assisted or scored on half of their points. He put the team on, they down 17, he put the team on his back.
On his back.
He's, like yesterday we was talking about, Philly don't have a chance. You can't game plan for that. And once he start rolling and he in his groove, once he gets to working hard and playing hard, guess what happens? Everybody starts sinking and looking at, and he's finding them shooters, and they knocking down shots. If they knocking down shots, they tough. Another 13-point three-point performance by the team. They're shooting the 3-ball well. You can't do anything with him in the paint. He's knocking down shots. he could get his free throws a little better. I don't want to poke holes in nothing, but he
just
did
sweep
enough.
That under the carpet.
No, he did enough to win the game. Do you see what he did in the first quarter? 10 points, 5 assists, and accounted for 22. Second quarter, 4 points, 2 assists, accounted for 10 of their 20. That's
Eddie got research to do.
Yeah, 6 points and 3 assists, account for 13. And in the fourth quarter, 13 points, 4 assists, accounted for 22. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, Skip.
Where we going?
Come on
Give
now.
me due, Skip.
Yeah.
Give me the
You
due.
got to give him some credit.
Give him
some credit.
Diet Mountain Dew?
No.
No.
He want credit.
Some credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ain't talking about no FICO score either. I'm talking about that good stuff.
So you want me to go?
Yeah, I want you to
I'll
go.
So, Mr. House, how did the Cleveland Cavaliers suddenly start climbing back in this game? What happened? The Beast of the East, is he up there? Yeah, he's up
Yeah, there you go.
The Beast of the East finally said, you know what? Nobody on those 5 guys can keep me from getting to that rim, right?
Nobody in the world.
Driving layup, driving layup, driving layup, driving layup, and one.
Pass the dunk.
And one.
Pass the
Wow.
Green for the dunk.
So I always wonder. I wonder out loud. I tweeted this right after the game. I always wonder, why didn't LeBron just do that the whole game? I realized he was down 2 point guards, so he had to sort of play point guard. But again, do the Wizards have anybody who can keep him from the cup, as they call it? No, nobody can.
does.
Nobody does.
The Sixers have 2 giants in the middle who can really defend at the highest level. That has turned into the best defensive team in basketball. They bother LeBron because he can't do that to both of those guys. And you saw what happened at Cleveland on March 1st. Who won that game? The Sixers won it and won it convincingly over LeBron post-trade deadline.
What did LeBron do to them when they had Embiid in Philly? Triple-double, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And early in the year, beat
They're just growing up, though. The babies are coming of age.
Well, they won't be full grown this year.
You know what? This Philly team, just a quick aside here, it's starting to remind me of a Dallas Cowboy team I covered in 1992 that nobody thought was there yet because they're just babies, Troy and Emmett and Michael. They're just kids. You know, they don't get it yet. They acquired Charles Haley. And all of a sudden, they broke through a whole year ahead of schedule. And what happened? They won the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying, the Sixer team's starting to look like that.
A world champion? The Sixers looking like a world champion.
They're starting to. They got so much firepower and talent that's just on the verge. It's
of world championship.
I don't know. It's starting to feel like it.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid is not afraid of the Beast of the East. Joel is about to become the Beast of the East if he isn't already.
Yeah, when LeBron is like in year 18, we'll pass that along to Joel Embiid if we deem him necessary.
Okay.
If not, we'll put foots on their neck again.
So once again, we get the best player on the planet, according to him, MVP of this league this year.
Yeah.
We get him on the free throw line with 53 seconds left, and predictably, what happens? He's got 2 free throws to tie the game. And Eddie House, what happens with the first free throw? He almost airballs it to the left. It wasn't even a clank. It was like a tick. It barely ticked the edge of the rim on the left side. I'm like, come on, LeBron, you can at least get it up on top.
Then he made the next one.
He made the next one. I give him credit. He's been shooting a little better from the free throw line. But then what happened with 24 seconds left? LeBron goes up from 3 to shoot for the lead and LeBricks it. And long rebound out. It reminded me of Game 6, Miami 2013. Long rebound to Chris Bosh. No, this time it was to Jeff Green, who fights for the rebound, and they call a foul on the Wizards. They called a foul. It's like sort of one of those 50-50 balls with how much time? 24 seconds left in the game. Usually the refs just say fight for it.
No,
just go fight.
He did.
Am I right, Eddie?
He got it.
Depending.
Fight for it.
Jeff Green had a little bit more aggression, so he got the call.
He got the call. So they send Jeff Green to the free throw line, and what does he do? Swish, swish.
Eddie, if you don't mind me asking, who's a better free throw shooter, James Harden or LeBron James?
Oh, don't change that. It's my turn. Well, hold on just a second. Joy, it's my turn. I haven't finished yet. You relinquished the floor to me. So then we get down to 9 seconds left, and LeBron James has a chance to at least ensure overtime by making 2 free throws. And what does he do? He misses the first one. So it's still a 2-point game. And John Wall comes the other way. And boy, did the Wizards ever hit the wall down the stretch in the last 2 minutes, because I don't like John Wall. I never have liked him. I like him personally. He gets upset with me. This isn't personal. It's professional. But this was vintage John Wall. I know he's been hurt for a while.
Who was guarding him? Tell Eddie who was guarding him.
Did he get 2 open shots?
Who was guarding him?
Yeah, and then LeBron wasn't guarding him on the last play of the game when it's a 2-point game, and he just turns because he didn't have anywhere to go. He gets caught up in the air with, I don't know what I'm going to do with this ball.
Good defense.
I think I'm going to throw it to Jetty. I'll throw it to Jetty.
You pulled a Freddie Brown?
He was a Freddie Brown. I'll throw it to Jetty. And guess what Jetty does? Just to ice the game, to put it to 4 and put it out of reach so that they can't shoot a 3 to tie. What did Jetty do? He went to the free throw line and made both of them.
He did, Skip.
As opposed to
and
LeBron
I commend
James.
him on that.
Yep.
But what about the fact that they were down 14? They were down at one point 17. And with under 8 minutes, LeBron James scores 13, 4 assists. So 22 of the 37 points they score.
You know, through the middle of the fourth quarter, he's really good. He was good in that Game 6, 2013, down to the 3-minute mark. And then, boy, he starts to get nervous-handed.
Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, I'm going to agree. Can you tell the people at home what happened in overtime?
Overtime, he took over because my Spurs got shot in the heart by Ray Allen.
Eddie, you see what happened?
Leave that out.
Yeah, Skip, why do you
convenient amnesia,
everybody,
right?
did you see my team? It just died. It
Why?
literally just fell on the
game
floor.
wasn't over. You got 5 minutes to get it back.
Ray Allen made the greatest clutch shot in history. My team was up 5 with 23 seconds left. My San Antonio Spurs. And Manu missed a free throw, and Kawhi, a baby at that point, missed a free
he a baby.
throw.
Now Kawhi baby.
Yeah. Now he's just a big baby.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that, Skip.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But Skip, last night he was sensational. He was in that toolbox. They needed everything that he gave. Remember now, he played another 39
The toolbox has the biggest hammer in it in the NBA. Yeah. Just take it to the rack, man. They can't keep.
But they don't call fouls for us like they do James Harden.
It doesn't matter. He just bully balls.
But a lot of that,
a lot
of that, he didn't need a hammer. Sometimes he had to have that electric tape, so he had to piece that thing together, hold it together.
Oh yeah.
What did Ty Lue say? Ty Lue said he had a conversation with LeBron, and he said, "You take some time. I'll hold it down while you gone."
Oh, okay.
That's what he's saying.
I admire Ty Lue on his first night back, somehow talking LeBron into sitting for the first, 4.5 minutes?
He needed a break.
Of the fourth quarter. He doesn't usually do that. And it benefited this team greatly because when he came back in, he was fresh.
Well, he did. Let me tell you what. Brown was thinking was, if I sit on the bench, there's a great chance we're going to be down even more. You know, the greater the challenge, the greater the conquest. So he realized that if I come back in, we down by 14 under 8 minutes, and I pull this off.
You know what? I saw a stat on ESPN this morning that I just wasn't aware of. Do you realize that LeBron in his career, with his team down 15+ with 6 or fewer minutes left in the game, he's 0-152 until last night? He'd never won a game like that. He was 0-152, and I'm thinking the best player on the planet had never pulled off a comeback like that?
Yeah.
I don't know this, but I'm sure Michael Jordan had several of those.
Well,
although, the more I think about it, maybe Michael would never be down.
You know what I do know? Did the ESPN have that stat in there? The greatest comeback in playoff history was led by LeBron James against the Indiana Pacers last year. Where's that stat at?
Wait, who was the leader of last year's Pacers? George Paul.
George
Paul was. George Paul. Are the
George.
Pacers mentally tougher this year than they were last year? Did you see what they did to Golden State last night? They swept them this year because they don't have George Paul in the center.
Stop it, Skip.
Well, I'm serious.
What about?
Hold on. You mean to tell me Golden State got swept and they got the best player on the planet on that team?
Yeah. He was
Kevin Durant.
2 for 10. He had a terrible night.
What?
Shot it poorly.
What?
Bogdanovich made 6 for Indiana.
The best player on the
Indiana's
planet.
You know he
more
make
dangerous.
excuses.
I'm not making excuses.
I
I just said he had a terrible night.
He glossed over the fact when Manu Ginobili missed the free, he just glossed over that.
I didn't
Kawhi
gloss over it.
missed the free
He
throw.
missed
He was
it. I
a
said
baby.
it. I brought it up.
But you gloss over it. You don't make it like it's a big thing.
It was that terrible. If either one of those free throws
let's talk
goes
about
in.
how good LeBron, how great he was at. What about his passing skills? All his passes on the money. He threw one, and it's so much velocity on it. He threw it, and Morris hit it with his finger, and it still was right on the money. I mean, his vision is impeccable.
The same LeBron who had 6 turnovers. They were just
so
knocking
look,
the ball out of his
I'm
hand.
glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
We're talking about plus minus, right?
Well,
Rodney Hood is 21.
I know that would let
LeBron is 13. If you don't knock it off, this man almost had a triple-double, and Rodney Hood had
it's science.
It's
science.
3 for 6.
Ain't no science.
Wait a minute.
8 points.
Nobody
he had 8 points, and he plus 21. He had 8 points.
Okay, this
man had 33, 14, and 9.
Like plus minus is subjective. It's
that's a
completely
garbage
science.
stat.
It's not a garbage stat.
Garbage
it means
stat.
when you're on the floor, what's the score? And when Rodney Hood was on the floor,
who you have with you
it
on
was
there.
plus. What were they?
He's plus. Come on, plus 21. Rodney Hood.
Plus 21.
And LeBron
That
is
led
plus
the whole-
13. Come on, stop it.
Okay,
no,
that
LeBron
means-
led the whole game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, when
He put the
LeBron
team
was
on
on
his
the
back.
floor, the team was plus 13. That's just
When we was
science.
up, they was down
Right?
17.
Hold on. Well, let me ask you a question. He should have been plus more than that
Why?
Because when he came back, they were down 14. And he brought
Do you
them all
think they
back.
made this up? Do you think it's like it's
That's
a
why
bogus box?
it's a dumb stat.
It's
That's
not
what I'm
a
trying
dumb
to
stat.
That's so stupid.
It's
Yeah.
not a
Don't worry
Only
about
13.
it.
And
We got
by the
that
way,
dub. We're going
stop
to get another one tonight.
By the way, LeBron said he's been in a long groove. He had 3 longs ahead of groove. And yet, I go back to Christmas Day of just this season.
15.
For the next 19 games, LeBron had the worst
15
plus
years.
minus in
Come on,
basketball.
get the plus minus
In
out of
basketball.
here,
The
man,
worst plus
please.
minus in all of
Just
basketball
get it
was
out of
LeBron
here.
James.
Look at
520
That's
players.
why I don't
he had
hold
the
no
worst.
stock in this. Come on, man. You telling me Rodney Hood plus 21 compared to LeBron James plus 30?
Okay,
He had more of an impact
Okay,
on that
it
game.
doesn't mean he's better than LeBron.
Yes.
It just means when he was on the floor, the team was 21 points better
Man, that's
than
dumb.
the opponent.
It
It's just-
it
it's just
depends on your
math.
teammates, too. It depends on your teammates.
It doesn't.
Who you're out there with. Yeah.
Okay, well, okay. But it's a stat. It's real.
My guy was
When
in
he
his
was
ba-
out there,
My guy
LeBron
was in
was
that
going to work.
toolbox last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pulled that hammer out.
Yeah. No.
7 minutes left. He pulled
Philip
that
had a
hammer out and said,
flathead
I'm going to hit
screwdriver,
Gortat right on the
electric
head.
tape.
Yeah.
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 Monkey wrench.
Yeah, it's that big
Put it together.
sledgehammer. It's like the world's strongest man.
40.
And you hit Gortat right on the head with it, and he just shrinks.
Don't do that, Skip.
He did.
Don't do that.
Did he not?
Why you do that?
I'm just telling you what happened. What happened
Everybody's
last night?
scared when they play LeBron.
They are. Most teams are, except for the Sixers. They are not afraid of no LeBron.
Man, they have no chance against
Zero.
Cleveland.
What's
You
less
can't,
than
you can't game plan for him.
Well,
What's less than zero?
You can't
who
game
won
plan
March
for him.
1st in the King's house? Who won?
It's about to be 3-1.
Okay.
Well, the playoffs are different.
No mercy.
The Patriots have made some major changes to their roster this offseason. Earlier this week, they traded Brandon Cooks to the Rams for the 23rd overall pick in the draft. They've also lost Malcolm Butler, Dion Lewis, Danny Amendola, and Nate Solder. They did make an addition yesterday, signing former Bills wide receiver Jordan Matthews. We're joined by former NFL head coach Eric Mangini. Welcome back, Eric. Good morning.
Good to be back. It's good
How
to
are
see
you,
you
Coach?
guys. It's been a while.
Where's your stand-up partner?
He's in the green room. They didn't want to bring him out with me.
He's referring to Rob Parker, who will be joining us in
Beat
a
him
little
up on a
bit.
Friday, going to the weekend.
Yeah.
He didn't recover.
Skip, we'll start with you. Have the
Yes.
Patriots taken a step back this offseason?
Coach Mangini, you obviously know Bill Belichick very well. You coached under him, worked with him for a number of years. You've had your issues with him. I have now a big issue with him. You're probably going to tell me I'm out of my mind, but I'm going to throw all of this at you, and you react to this, please. I do not any longer trust Bill Belichick's motives when it comes to Tom Brady, because Bill Belichick clearly wanted Tom Brady out after last season. According to the ESPN report, Bill Belichick was ordered by Robert Kraft to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, Belichick's diamond in the rough from the second round, who was right on schedule to take over this football team as the starting quarterback this coming football season. And Bill Belichick said, okay, watch this. This is my take on it. And he gave away Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round draft choice. He just got, which was the point you made yesterday, he got, for Brandon Cooks, he got a late first, right?
Yep.
So he gave away Jimmy Garoppolo, and we saw what Jimmy did down the stretch for the 49ers. He was pretty great, right? So then what happened? After the AFC Championship game, in which Tom Brady had once again pulled off a miraculous fourth-quarter drive against the coming-of-age Saxonville defense, Bill Belichick openly scoffed at the deep gash on Tom Brady's throwing hand. So did my partner across the table, but this was Bill Belichick, who called it not exactly open heart surgery and more media circus than football crisis. And Tom Brady, in the final episode of Tom vs. Time, displayed for all to see the deep gash that took 12 stitches to close on the base of his thumb on his throwing hand. And I think you would agree that could make it pretty difficult to throw a football in the cold against the Saxonville defense, right? So then what happened in the Super Bowl? All of a sudden, Tom Brady throws for a playoff record 505 yards, but Bill Belichick's genius defense is without Malcolm Butler because nobody seems to really know. Malcolm Butler doesn't know because he stands on the sideline for every defensive snap, plays none after he led the defense with 98% of the snaps during the regular season. What? There's no Malcolm Butler, and you let Nick Foles, the backup quarterback, hang 41 points on you, Bill Belichick, on your defense, which leads us to now you trade away Tom's only deep threat, Brandon Cooks, fine. What are you going to do? Are you going to help out? Are you going to give Tom a deep threat for next year? So you go get Jordan Matthews. And I love Jordan Matthews personally because he went to my school, Vanderbilt, and he set the SEC career record for catches and receiving yards. But in Philadelphia, he did nothing but drop too many passes. And in Buffalo, he had not one. He had 3 different injuries that cost him last year. And we haven't seen the actual figures of what they signed him for, but it could be less than $1 million for Jordan Matthews. So you're talking about a bargain basement, lame attempt to replace Brandon Cooks. I'm not sure that's going to be Brandon Cooks. He is a big, fast receiver, and I like him personally, but I'm not sure he's going to help very much. And now comes speculation from the inside that maybe Bill's going to trade his draft cash for a young quarterback, go up to the top 5, maybe the top 2, who knows, maybe even the top 1 to draft one of these quarterbacks to be the next Tom Brady. So once again, there is underlying tension between these two that I don't like and I don't think is going to work for what's left of the Patriots because they've taken a lot of hits in free agency going forward. They are not what they were 1 year ago. Your thoughts?
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. We got a few things. So let's start with the Brandon Cooks trade. Great trade. They get a guy for $1.5 million. They trade away the 32nd pick in the draft. The next year, they turn that into the 23rd pick in the draft. And now the Rams are paying $8.5 million for Brandon Cooks. And they couldn't re-sign him anyways. They would have had to either franchise him.
Got it.
So that's a big number guy.
But he needs to be replaced. Go ahead.
Okay, in terms of drafting a quarterback, they're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. At least I can't imagine that's the way it's going to go. He's been a head coach for 23 years. He's never drafted a quarterback in the first round. He's only drafted 1 wide receiver in the first round. The Malcolm Butler issue, I don't know what happened there. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Odds are there was a very good reason that we don't know about and we'll never know about because that's the way things work. It's kept in-house.
Did it hurt the defense?
In terms of it being his defense, yeah, it's his defense, but it's Matt Patricia's defense, who's now the head coach of the Detroit Lions. So obviously he did enough good work to get that job. And the Eagles did a lot of good things in the playoff run, and so did Nick Foles. That wasn't just unique to New England. Okay, the next thing was replacing the receivers with Jordan Matthews. You forget now there's also Kenny Britt, who's there. There's Cordarrelle Patterson, who's there. They're getting Julian Edelman back. And what does Bill do consistently? He goes and gets guys, and when everybody else has run away from him, and then they go to New England and they do a really good job.
Because
and suddenly,
the quarterback is really good.
But just the idea of saying it's a bargain basement, that doesn't mean it's bad. That actually just means it's really good business. Remember Randy Moss? Randy Moss was a 4th-round draft pick that they traded, but he was coming off a horrible season. Yes. Suddenly he goes there, and he becomes the Randy Moss that we all knew, and arguably better than what we knew. And to me, this year's free agency period is more in line with the Patriots than what we saw last year. Last year was the aberration. This year is more consistent.
They paid a ton of money for Stephon Gilmore.
They paid a ton of money for him. They traded away the 1st-round draft pick for Cooks. Now this year they've got 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s, which is something they haven't had in a long time.
So you fully expect he'll just sit there or maybe even trade back to create more
typically, they may go get a left tackle in the 1st round, or they could trade back, but they've got a lot of ammunition that they historically haven't had. Tom Brady's hand, it wasn't heart surgery. It was stitches on his hand.
That was your throwing hand.
It wasn't
your right hand.
But it wasn't heart surgery.
Did you see the pictures of it?
I did. It looked really bad.
Yes, factually, it was not heart surgery.
Well, Coach Belichick said he did it as a kitchen accident, so I wouldn't give you no credit. You didn't heard it on my watch. Hey, man, have you ever heard of a quarterback handing the ball off, and he gets a laceration that requires 12 stitches in the base of his hand?
Wait, you put quotes around 12 stitches, so you're saying that was
not
true?
I'm saying the 12. He didn't need 11. He didn't need 13. He got 12. But anyway, have you ever known? I mean,
typically no, but I remember the night before the Super Bowl, we ran out of long snappers, and we brought in this guy who had snapped for Bill in Cleveland, and he had been preaching. That's what he'd done for the last 2 years, but we needed someone.
Right.
So he comes in, and then the day the day before the Super Bowl, rolls it back. That night, he cuts his hand while he's eating a steak, and then he's got to snap the ball in the Super Bowl and for us to win, and he ends up doing it. So look, these things happen.
Higher degree of difficulty, snapping or throwing passes against the Saxonville
I'm just saying when you're
defense.
the long snapper and you've been out for 2 years and you slice your hand with a knife, and you've got to make the biggest snap of your career. With the hand, yeah, it was bad. But over the course of his career, Bill's seen a lot worse injuries the guys have played with.
Yeah, and that was my point. And that's my point. And what E-Man is saying is that he cut his hand cutting a steak, not snapping a football. That's what E-Man was trying to get at.
You know what? You could be right. Maybe it didn't happen getting caught on Burkhead's helmet in practice.
Okay.
Maybe it was something else. But it happened.
It happened.
It was gashed. This is how you grip the football. Did Tom Brady not say there was a night, what was it, Wednesday night going to Thursday? He wasn't sure he could even play on Sunday.
But Skip, what should Bill have done? Create a sense of urgency in the press conference? Like, oh, my God, this injury's so bad.
Give him a little break. Give him a little credit.
So
maybe
the
just a
whole
little
team
bit.
Feels...
So he sounded like Shannon Sharp in the postgame, trying to discount what Tom Brady had done. Was Tom Brady not great in the fourth quarter against a really good secondary?
What Coach Belichick always does is that he doesn't give his team excuses if we were to lose. Well, we lost because of Tom's injury, like somebody else I know.
Nobody gave it excuse. It's just what? It just was a thing. It happened.
It happened.
Yeah. It was a deep gash.
That dub happened for old Foles.
But
did I need an excuse after the game?
Yeah.
I didn't need an excuse.
I think the other thing when you look at this whole free agency period and the Patriots this offseason and the sense of alarm that everybody has. Remember last year when the question was, can they go undefeated this year?
Yeah.
Are they the most loaded they've ever been? All that, I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, did they not win free agency last year?
I mean, I guess so. Stephon Gilmore early in the season couldn't get lined up. Brandon Cooks had, okay stats. Coney Ealy didn't even play it down. Did they win free agency?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hold on. You talk about they cut him. Guess who picked him up?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
We got him.
So his third team.
I guess Dallas is winning free agency this year.
What happens, Eric? My Cowboys, they wait until they can get a bargain basement deal. See, they bring in Coney Ealy when he gets cut by Bill Belichick.
How about his 14? Wouldn't this concern you a little bit, E-Man? You on your 4th team in a year?
Yeah, that'd be a concern. And bargain basement coming from the Patriots is different than bargain basement coming from somewhere else.
I'm just throwing your argument back at you.
I mean, a guy, think about this, Skip. A guy that had 3 sacks, an interception, a forced fumble in the Super Bowl is on his 4th team since that Super Bowl.
I loved him at Missouri. Maybe he's born to be a Dallas Cowboy.
There's a lot of singers that have one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
They have the song that everybody can't get out of their mind.
Rockwell had one. Feel like somebody watching me. Yeah, especially when I'm on this show.
Well, I would hope that there's
No, I'm talking about this one.
Oh.
You mean following you on Twitter?
Oh, they be loving you. They love you, boy. I'm about to catch you.
No mercy. Here's the latest on Dez Bryant. An anonymous Cowboys staff member told Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer that Dez, quote, does very few things really well. Breer added that Cowboys coaches started seeing Dez's physical gifts start to slip all the way back in 2015. Dallas has signed wide receivers Allen Hurns and Deontay Thompson this offseason, leading to even more speculation about Dez's future in Dallas. Shannon, what did you read into this?
That staff have been reading my notes, Joey.
They've been watching us.
Yeah.
Way to go.
I mean, but he's saying this tell us something we can believe, Joey. Tell us that Warren Buffett, as a child, sold bean pies at a truck stop in Nebraska. Now, see, that might be something I find hard to believe. But telling me Dez doesn't do very many things well, and he goes back to win, Skip, 2015. Go back to 2015. I said, look at his numbers. After he got the money, he deserved that big payday in 2015, Skip. Because 2013 was as good as anybody that's ever worn that Cowboy uniform and played receiver has ever had. He was special.
Yep.
But go back, look, and come forward. Every DB that comes out here, they say the same thing, Skip. Now, they study tape. Now, you know I've studied tape a long time. But they watching. Say we play for end-breaking routes, and we know he can't run by, so they're going to try to back shoulders. 2 routes.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter, Skip. If you would, like you like to say, if you could put Jason Garrett, if you could put Scott Lanahan on a lie detector test and make them tell you the truth about Dez Bryant, everybody knows what Dez is, but it don't matter. Only one person matters. That's Jerry. Skip, let me ask you a question. If Dez Bryant played for the Patriots and had 3 down years, you think he's still making that kind of money? If he plays for any team that's serious about winning and not just making headlines and because, we're going to be the highest rated team because we got that star, you're not having a guy with 3 down years and you keep him at the same salary.
Agreed. Yep.
So this is all about Jerry and his love, and that's his baby. I mean, Dez is his guy. Dez. But Skip, Dez is not that guy that he was. And I believe he could, go in and with this guru and gonna help him on some things. But Dez is what he is. Dez is what he is.
So, for the first time, I heard someone on the inside provide what became music to my ears, because it's what we have been saying all along since the debacle in Denver, week 2 of the NFL season. Dez Bryant is a shell of himself. And finally, somebody on the inside, I don't think it's Jason Garrett, but somebody in that coaching staff is seeing what we're seeing or not seeing. And the quote is, based on last year, he does very few things very well. Does very few things very well, really well.
Okay, for a receiver, Skip, what's 3 of the things he needs to be able to do? He needs to be able to run. Can Dez run? Can he run the tree? How's his hands? Okay, those are the 3 most important things for a receiver.
He led the NFL in drops. He lacks quickness. He lacks acceleration speed, like 5th gear speed down the field. He can't run by anybody. He can't run away from anybody. His routes are simple to the point you can call them before the ball is snapped. So how are you going to get open? And yet, the more you are single covered, the more your young second-year quarterback who goes right by the book, he's a 1, 2, 3 reader, he's going to say, 88 singled. The read is, because the read's always, it's to go to 88.
Absolutely.
Right? And then 88 either runs the wrong route, can't get open, or drops something that's in his catch radius.
That's correct.
That's horrendous. And to me, Dez Bryant was at the vortex of the collapse of this team. Like, if I can heap the most blame, I heap it on 88. Maybe I'm being harshly unfair here, but when the whole offense is sort of geared to throwing it to 88, that's the key play of the drive, is on all the key conversion plays, the 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 7s, you're going to go to 88 and he's not going to catch it. What do you think is going to happen over time?
Yeah.
You're going to lose, man.
Skip, look at that. Okay, when Gronk goes out in the AFC Championship game, Gronk is out. Edelman hadn't played all year. Who steps up? Danny Amendola. Okay, you lose Zeke, your best player. Okay, if you say Dak is your first or second best player, okay, the second or third best player got to step up. You tell me in the absence of Zeke, Dez Bryant stepped up. You look at every other team when a star player on the offensive skill position, when one of those guys go down, look at the guys that step up.
In 2014, who was the most dominating Dallas Cowboy? I'm pretty sure it was 88.
Yeah.
Right?
88 and DeMarco Murray. Because Skip, here's the thing. You had to drop that 8th guy down because DeMarco Murray was running the ball down your throat. Okay, now Tony Romo's like, hey, y'all got one-on-one out there with Dez. I'm going to give him the rock. Jump balls. All those 50-50 balls, Dez was coming down with him because this was pre-injury. This was a young Dez. This was a hungry Dez. Now.
On the play that I love to talk about, it was a catch. Dez did catch it. What happened? It was 4th and 2.
Right.
The game's on the line, and what does Romo do? He just bombs it to Dez, right? Just your basic fly pattern. He's just running up the sideline, straight up.
What you love most about it, Skip?
Yeah.
You love his effort.
Yeah.
Tell me you see that kind of effort from Dez Bryant since. Going up over a guy's head.
I saw a guy whose body has broken down and then who lost all confidence in himself. Yet, to your original point, the owner still sees him as box office.
Yes.
Because remember, following 2014, he wasn't just profiled by Sports Illustrated. He was on the cover of Rolling Stone. The cover, that's hard crossover, man. That's where you're touching all the bases, man. If Rolling Stone says we're going to put you, the primary candidate of Rock Nation, client of Rock Nation, on the cover of our magazine, that's impact, man. And Jerry Jones goes, wow. And listen, used to do road shows with the ESPN show. Everywhere we went, the whole crowd's they're just doing this.
Yeah.
So he was huge. And then I agree, in 2015, I'm like, where are you? What happened? And I wrote it off to this injury, that injury. But once you start having lower leg injuries at that position, as you know, you got that Liz Frank, the Jones fracture.
But Skip, if you're not a speed guy to begin with, and you're not technically sound, he can still outrun Steve Largent, but Steve Largent caught 100 touchdowns because he was technically sound. He understood how to run the route tree.
Yep.
But when you can't separate and you're only basically running 2 routes, maybe it's his fault, maybe it's the Cowboys because they don't ask him to do enough. Maybe they're afraid to ask him to do any more than what he's doing because they don't feel he's capable of doing it.
Yep.
Whatever the case may be, he's not moving around. They can't put him in the slot. They can't do a lot of different things. Whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, this is my production. Is he producing? Now, you can make all this. Jerry can love him as much as he want to. But guess what, Jerry? Love don't win you no titles.
No.
This is what I don't understand, Skip. This is what baffles me about Jerry. The man that released Emmitt Smith, who's the all-time leading rusher, who has the most rushing touchdown, a former MVP, a former Super Bowl MVP. He released Emmitt Smith.
He did.
But he'll hold on and clutch Dez, who has never gotten him close to anything to resemble a title.
No.
That's what I don't get, Skip. Emmitt Smith.
Well, he thought Emmitt was done, and Emmitt looked done when he went to Arizona, but that's a whole other issue. But he doesn't think Dez, he thinks there's still firepower in that body. He's clinging to 2014, and you can't see it, and I can't see it. I don't think Dez Bryant is fixable because I think his body has just betrayed him. So you can hire all the Sanjay Lals as receiver coach. I don't know who he is, but he's the new receiver coach. Like what was his quote about? Dez and I can go places together.
Yeah.
What?
Y'all
go
weird. Y'all gonna go to the unemployment line. That's what y'all about. Skip, Jerry with the Hubble telescope couldn't see what's inside Dez that is fixable. He is what he is. Skip, you don't have. What's the likelihood? You have 3 down years. You tell me the guy that's had 3 down years, and then the 4th year, there's an uptick that he goes back to being what he was. You don't see that, Skip.
Okay, so there was one other late line in this Albert Breer report about Dez. At the bottom of it, just out of nowhere, comes the Cowboys' failure to land Sammy Watkins probably saved Bryant's place on the roster. And I had not, silly me, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I didn't know they were pursuing Sammy Watkins. They were in the Derby. They were in the auction. But Sammy Watkins got 3 years, $48 million from Kansas City with like $30 million guaranteed.
Right. And they weren't willing to go there.
Well, it gives me hope and renewed heart that maybe Jerry is seeing what we're seeing, and maybe he did go after Sammy Watkins and failed. Well, if he did, that means that he's done with Dez. But he's got who to replace Dez. He has nobody.
I'm telling you, I just believe that they're going to try and box Dez in, Skip.
Maybe.
After the draft, free agency's done gone. Hey, this is what we got for you, Dez, so we're going to have to release you. Then what does he do?
I don't know. Look, I like Dez personally, but I just don't want to see him around next year. I think it will just gum up the works next year.
Yeah.
But if he's making less money, maybe they won't force it to him.
Okay, but how happy will Dez Bryant be making less money with no footballs thrown to it? Man,
this is what
good luck with that.
You know what? It cute when people like, oh, Skip, if you're not gonna make plays for $12.5 million, but you're gonna make them plays for $3 million, $4 million, you would think like, man, I'm jumping out the stadium trying to catch the ball. But now you making $4 million, man. I got to really make this play now.
We'll see. No mercy. Tim Tebow made a great debut in Double-A baseball yesterday.
It is far.
First pitch of his very first at-bat with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. Tebow went yard, launching a majestic shot over the right field wall. It was a 3-run homer, and the Rumble Ponies win.
Did you see that, Shannon?
Wow.
Shannon, you all right? You okay?
Going, gone. Welcome, Rob Parker.
What's happening? Good morning.
Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
It's a good name.
Double-A Professional Baseball League. Go ahead,
Professional.
Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, how impressive was this?
No, anytime you get a home run, we always talk about it. The hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball. So
to hit a baseball consistently.
No, absolutely. It is. It's very hard. That was a majestic shot. I give him credit there. Here's the thing, Skip, that's going to be different for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Tim Tebow actually, right, if he can have success, you know all the good players in baseball are where? In Double-A.
They are.
This is where, it's not the old days where Triple-A was the top place. all the real players that move on to the major league are AA players. So if he can somehow, some way play consistently, and it's not the strikeouts before. He struck out a lot. He struck out basically, he's played 126 minor league games. He struck out 126 times.
Yep.
That's not good enough. But if you can have what Aaron Judge did, and I'm not saying 50 home runs, but hit enough home runs and have a high enough batting average, they don't look down on you like they used to. Before, he would never make the major leagues or never have a chance to make the major leagues. Do I think he's going to make the major leagues?
No way, no how.
I don't. But if he had any shot at making it, he'd have to hit home runs. What'd you just say? Consistent?
Yes.
Consistently on the AA level for people to finally, because to me, Skip, this is his last year of really playing.
I would agree.
If he goes to AA and we got 230 and you're striking out 2 times a game and you hit 4 home runs or 5 home runs, there's no reason to continue. And here's the other kicker. The Mets aren't a dish rag anymore. They're a good team that most people have getting a wild card and making the playoffs.
Yep.
So there's no reason to bring them in to try to sell tickets at the end of the year. They're going to want somebody who can contribute because they have a playoff contending team.
You need a little September pop?
Right, exactly, coming off the bench.
I don't know. Interesting.
So are you shocked that I gave you that?
I'm a little surprised.
The
it was
first
objective.
Of all, flu season is past. The only shot Tim Tebow is going to get is a flu shot. We've seen this before, Skip. What happened in spring training? Can you tell the people that doesn't follow baseball that closely, what was Tim Tebow hitting in spring training?
Tell them what your researcher told you.
I don't know. He was busy. I gave my researcher off. His wife's birthday was the other day. I gave him time off.
That is not true.
In spring training, Tim Tebow was hitting .056. He was 1 for 18 with 11 strikeouts. But let me tell you what he did last year.
That ain't going to get you to the big league.
Let me tell you what he did last year for the Columbia Fireflies. In his very first at-bat, can you guess what happened, Rob?
He hit a home run.
What? And over the next 125 games, he hit 7 more total with all those strikeouts. Pop. Whatever. You know it, Skip Bailey. This is, I can't even, you know what, Skip Bailey?
This has got you. Because you're starting to get scared over there.
Scared of what?
Your seat's getting a little hot.
Because what? He strikes out more than he makes contact with the ball. The mere fact that they're doing everything. They've cleared, like you like to say, this is Skip Bayless' favorite term. They've cleared the deck for him. They're doing everything they can to get him up there. He just can't.
He can't do it.
Man, they can't.
Wait, Rob, now you're flipping around.
No, I'm just saying, unless Skip, he can show you, he can hit some home runs on AA against the best talent.
So, Tim Tebow, in his first appearance in low A ball a year ago, he hits a home run. And in his first appearance as he got promoted to to high A ball, he hit a home run.
Yeah.
And then his first at bat in AA, he hit a home run. And it wasn't just a home run, it was a shot. It was like what Joy and I saw in that audition day at USC.
Joy, stop.
Showcase.
It was a showcase. And he was just ripping shots, pull shots over the scoreboard of is it Rodetto Stadium, I think, at USC. They were moon shots. And this wasn't the Oppo Jack. This was a ball that he pulled. And I didn't see a lot of pulled shots.
You on moon rocks if you think you're going to make the major.
He got a round on that pitch. And obviously that was the Portland Sea Dogs opening day starter. Am I right?
Look at
This
these
is
names.
AA.
The Portland Sea Dogs playing the Rumble Ponies.
Yeah. Look him up. Teddy Stankiewicz. He was a second-round draft pick. Okay, for the Boston Red Sox. So, again, you're up against their opening day starter, and boom, you pull it. And what did Tim Tebow do during the offseason? He worked, man. You got to give him that. He will work. He is dedicated to the task at hand because, remember, he went 12 years without playing baseball. It is the hardest game to figure out, to learn. It takes years to learn. That's why a lot of kids don't even want to take the path. It's just too hard.
And Skip, you know this. You fail 7 times out of 10. You're a Hall of Famer. Yep. That's how hard the game is.
So what happens if you fail 9 times out of 10?
You don't make the major league.
Oh, okay. So there we have it.
But Sandy Alderson is seeing what we always saw in the sport of football. All he does is win.
No, he doesn't.
My video that we did.
All he does is
win.
strike out.
All he does is win.
All he does is strike out.
Didn't you win an award for that video?
I didn't, but it did.
Yeah.
It did. The video won an award.
What about what? You want to see If they put together, like 10 home runs, I bet I can put together a video or a montage of all them strikeouts. He got 10 times to strike out.
Sandy Alderson, the GM of the Mets, who's been around for a couple of days, hasn't he? He's been all over the place, been with the A's in their glory years, and he said before spring training started, I think he'll play in the major leagues, said Sandy Alderson of Tim Tebow. That's my guess. That's my hope. And to some extent now, after a year and a half, a modest expectation. So he was trying to sort of.
But what Sandy left out in that quote is that he'll probably have a cup of coffee and a sweet roll if he gets there. It won't be that long.
Yeah, and he said this experiment is not going to last forever, but he has made meaningful progress. Again, hadn't played for 12 years,
which
the
is
hardest game to play. And all of a sudden, you just step in against all those bonus babies, and you start in the Arizona Fall League. It is loaded with top prospects.
That's what Rob said. Rob said the top prospects are in Double-A.
No, but I mean, they go to the Arizona Fall League before they go to Double-A.
But Double-A is weird, and that's why I'm saying when he says this experiment won't last forever.
Yeah.
If he strikes out and bats 110 in Double-A, he will not make it to the major leagues, and he won't be in the minor leagues next year.
Joy,
this is it.
I'm not in chemistry. I'm not in science class. What are we doing experiments for? Oh, this experiment. Whoa, wait a minute.
But you're betting on intangibles because you saw what he did in Denver as a football
quarterback. No, I ain't betting on intangibles.
Yeah,
I'm betting on talent. I want to bet on something. Look
what did Tim Tebow do in this offseason? He dropped, I don't know, he said 12 pounds. It looks like he's dropped about 15 pounds because he was a little thick last year. He's a little muscle-bound, a little too top-heavy maybe, and so he looks thinner, sleeker, lighter, faster.
What you need to be...
You need a little more bat speed. And I saw bat speed on that pitch. He got around on it, and he has got raw power. He's born with power. We know that.
I go out there right now and knock one over the fence.
Yeah.
Right now.
Have you ever hit a home run?
What kind of question is that?
No, I'm serious.
Of course I have.
Skip, did you hit home runs?
No.
Nope.
I never hit one. I'm over the fence. I've run out of home runs.
Wiffle ball doesn't count, Shannon.
I'm talking about have you ever hit one out of the park?
Rob, you like 59 and you 116 pounds.
Stop
it. Can you imagine when you were a teenager how much you weighed? 83 pounds. No 83-pound guys.
You think I'm 59? I look good. I'm not 59.
You close.
You're close.
No. Oh, Shay Sharp.
You're saying that Rob Parker is 10 years older than you, Shannon?
I'm still in my 40s.
I'm not even that right. He makes it like I'm that much older than you.
You are that much.
I'm not.
So you at least 7.
I'm going to say what I've said from the start.
You're 50 years old, right?
I'm 49.
Okay, and I'm 54.
Okay, there you go.
We're the same.
Here's the point. I'm going to say what I said from the start. This is a long shot, but this is the one guy you've got to give a shot to because you don't bet against this guy. When he puts his mind to something...
I'm just going to hold you, Skip, yes or no. Yes or no. Does he make it to the major league?
Yep.
Okay.
I just got a feeling they're going to give him a shot.
Rob.
And it's going to be it's going to have to be this year because I think this is going to be the end of the line.
Hold on. You make it seem like Tim Tebow's the only guy that's put his mind to something. There are a lot of there are a lot of guys that was in Double-A, Single-A.
Yeah, but sometimes you just got to have that magic, you know?
I view him as a battery guy. Double-A, Triple-A, and Single-A. Now, how he going?
Double-A is a lot
No, it ain't the majors.
No, I think he's more like 9 volt.
It's gonna hurt you if he makes the majors. You might call him to work.
I mean, that ain't nothing.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Keep an eye out for a weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning, featuring the best discussions and segments from this week. We'll be back with more Undisputed on Monday morning at the same time, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.